Day 27 is interesting. It feels a little bit like she's talking about a few different things in these short few pages. And so I don't know if it's just me, because, sometimes there are those days where it's hard to focus, but I found it hard to follow a consistent thought. And again, this isn't about her writing. I think this is just about where my mind is at. There were so many things that stood out to me in it, but I think overall, the things that stood out was especially her just talking about Peter and his personality and his reactions to Jesus at different points during his journey and his time with Jesus on earth. And this sentence, Peter's way with words was as wild as the waters he barely walked on. That really stood out to me. And interestingly, I think it stood out to me in a very personal way that I'm not sure that is how Jackie meant for it to stand out when she wrote it. But this is what it made me think. Are my words wild and not rooted or solid in faith? Just thinking about that idea of Peter and his reactions to things sometimes seemed not very thought out. They seemed more emotional reactions in the moment. And that is what it made me think about, is when are those times where maybe my words or even my actions are wild, in the sense of they're not thought through. They just I just kind of react in my emotions or my feelings without them being rooted in faith. So that idea of Peter, being called to walk upon the water with Jesus and only getting a few steps before he started to sink because he took his eyes off of God. So yeah, there were a few different things in today's reading that stood out to me, but I just felt like that was the thing that probably stood out to me the strongest. And then in her conclusion about our personalities, it says our personalities aren't in the way of our fruitfulness. Sin is. And again, it's that thought of where are the places where I think that, just because of my personality, I can't be a certain way. When I read this, I think about the fruits of the Spirit, and the fact that through our personality, or through our behavior, through how we interact with other people, through the things that we say and do and think, we should be producing those fruits of joy and peace and love and kindness and patience and all of those things, right? Self-control. And it's not our personalities or just how we're wired that gets in the way of our ability to produce those fruits in our life and in the life of other people, through our actions and words and deeds. But it is our sin, or in my case, sometimes it's just my disobedience, which is sin, but my disobedience and unwillingness to do what I know I'm supposed to do versus what I feel like doing in the moment, which brings me back to my words or my actions being wild. So today it was a little bit, I think it's me. It's a little bit all over the place in my thoughts, but I hope that this made sense, and I'd love to hear what you got out of day 27.